Halloween Ends, the review that I've been very excited to do since watching the movie at my local theatre over the weekend. And just a pre-warning, this review is going to be jam-packed with spoilers. Hey guys, how are you all doing? My name's Craig and welcome back to my horror channel. So, Halloween Ends, the anticipated movie that we've all been waiting for. Michael is back once again for one final time in a final showdown with Laurie Strode. So, me and my other half, I'm not gonna lie, we did really enjoy this movie. It had some really fantastic moments, and I've just got to say that, they didn't let us down with the music score that they used in this movie. I loved this version of the Halloween score, and I loved the opening titles where the pumpkin was changing as it got closer to the screen. I honestly think that this could actually be my favorite opening titles. That might be an unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion. Not only that, but the music score throughout the entire movie in certain scenes was some of the best in my opinion. The two moments that really stood out for me in terms of the soundtrack is one in the junkyard where those four teenagers get murdered, and another during the final battle between Laurie and Michael. I thought it was pretty outstanding. So I'm going to start off with all of the things that I liked, and then I'm going to move on to some of my mixed feelings with certain things, because even though I love this movie, I know it has actually pissed off a lot of fans, and I get it, I really, really do. So starting off with the opening scene where new character Corey, he comes around to babysit this kid while his rich parents go to this Halloween party. Straight away, I was hooked at this point. I didn't know where they were going with this, but I was ready. This kid ends up playing a prank on Corey, which goes horribly wrong. The kid locks Corey in the attic. I think it's an attic. Anyway, Corey starts to panic and he gets scared and he starts kicking the door, screaming for this kid to let him out. But this kid, he's on the other side having a great time and he's laughing at Corey. The parents then come back from the party, and as they walk through the front door, they can hear some sort of commotion going on upstairs, and the mum, she even hears Corey shout out something like, "I'm going to kill you." Corey then manages to kick open the door, not realizing that the kid is literally right behind the door, and it sends the kid over the banisters of the stairs, these very, very high stairs, and he falls all the way down to his death in front of his parents, making it look like that Corey has just killed this kid in cold blood. This was quite a graphic scene and actually really shocked me at how graphic it was. While I was in the theatre, I actually heard a woman in the audience gasp out very loud when the kid had fallen to his death. So this was a strong and powerful opening scene in my opinion. Everything that happened from 2018 and Halloween Kills is explained to us at the start of the movie, and basically Michael has disappeared after killing Laurie's daughter Karen. Nobody has seen Michael Myers for about 4 years. After the events of what happened in the last two movies, we learn how it's taken its toll on Haddonfield. It really showed how messed up people became, which I found quite interesting. There was even someone who had taken their own life because they couldn't cope with life anymore. I do like what they did with Laurie in this movie. Laurie decided to buy a new house in Haddonfield with her granddaughter Alison and basically just get on with their lives. Laurie was no longer behaving as this victim waiting for Michael to come back for her. I mean, she was prepared, even if he ever did want to come back and get her, but she was just getting on with her life, and we got to see a different side to her, which I really liked. Also, do you remember the woman from Halloween Kills? The one who ends up having a light pole smashed inside her throat? And then she was sitting there watching her husband being used as a pin cushion. Well, she actually survived. There's a scene where I think it's this woman's daughter who has a go at Laurie in the car park because she blames Laurie for like bringing the boogeyman back into the town, and now, you know, the woman can no longer talk and she's stuck in a wheelchair. This was another example of how Michael's night of terror has affected everyone. Let's go back to the Corey storyline because Corey plays a massive part in this movie. Now, I do actually like Corey as a character, at least for the first half of the movie. It's revealed that he didn't go to prison after the death of that kid. It's not really explained how he didn't go to prison, but I'm assuming it was proven in court that it was indeed a tragic accident. But a lot of the town, they've basically turned their back on Corey. They think he's a little bit of a weirdo and a kid killer, and there's even a moment where he's called a pedo. But there are also other people in the town who think that he's misunderstood and that it was all a tragic accident. Now, as much as I did like Corey and I liked this storyline, it did go on for quite some time before the good stuff started happening. Corey and Allison, they end up dating, and then there's this little forbidden love story that I really feel we could have done without. There are moments in this movie where not a lot happens for quite some time before the good stuff happens. And that is one of the reasons why I think a lot of fans are going to be pissed off. Now, the way the storyline goes in this movie with Corey and Michael was very bizarre. I liked some of it, and then there are moments that really pissed me off, and I know it's going to piss other fans off. So Michael, he was basically living in the sewers for the past 4 years. Why? Well, it's never really explained. When Corey ends up in the sewers, Michael goes to kill him, but Michael then sees something in Corey's eyes and he ends up letting him live. Corey then becomes this little mini Michael Myers, while the real Michael Myers continues to live in the sewers. So the main thing that really annoyed me in this movie was the fact that they made Michael weak. There's a scene where Corey literally wrestles and fights with Michael in the sewers, like they're literally rolling around having a wrestle, and then Corey ends up winning and he takes Michael's mask to go and kill some people. Like, what? This is definitely gonna piss people off. It pissed me off. They shouldn't have made Michael weak, and this scene should not have made it into the movie. There's a scene where Corey and Michael kill this cop guy, and when Michael kills him, it's like when Michael starts to get strong again every time he starts to stab him. And once again, this makes no sense to me because the amount of people that Michael killed in the last film should have given him enough power to pretty much make him unstoppable for the last 4 years. Why would Michael just go and live in the sewers for 4 years? It makes no sense. I totally don't get it. The Corey stuff doesn't always annoy me, and I appreciate what they were trying to do, but they didn't need to make Michael weak. I think that is the worst thing they did, and they definitely didn't need to put that scene in where Corey was wrestling with Michael and then, you know, Corey wins. That is just bullshit. Back to some positives, and there is an awesome kill scene with the doctor and the nurse that I really enjoyed. I mean, this is the kill that was revealed in a lot of the trailers. It's the one where the woman is stabbed and pinned up against the wall. I liked this scene. It's a shame it was in the trailer though. There is an outstanding scene in the junkyard. It's one of my favorite scenes, and it's where these group of teenagers literally get slaughtered. So there's these group of friends, and they are the ones who have been taunting Corey throughout the movie. So I wasn't really that sympathetic to them, at least not to one of them, this guy here. He was just an asshole in this movie and he deserved to die. So the two girls, they end up being chased by someone in a pickup truck, and one of them gets run down while she is stuck on a fence. Then the person who's driving gets out of the car, who you think maybe is Michael, but it's not. It's Corey wearing Michael's mask, who he had just taken from him in the sewers, and he ends up killing all of the teenagers. Now the music score that they use in this particular scene, for me, was off the scale. It was so dramatic, and for me, it was just a highlight in the movie. The final battle between Laurie and Michael, I thought was good. I must admit, a lot of the final battle scene was shown far too much in the trailers for my liking, but nevertheless, it was really, really good. It was intense, and for a moment there, it was looking like that Laurie was about to die just as Michael was taking his final breath. Let's talk about Michael's death scene. Okay, so how does Michael die? Well, Once Laurie has managed to pin Michael down to this table with a load of kitchen knives, she slices open his throat and his wrists, and I think she stabbed him under his arm. So basically she was draining all of the blood out of Michael's body while he was trapped. It was quite graphic. If you're someone who doesn't like knives slicing body parts of the skin, then you probably won't like this scene. The moment where they slice Michael's wrist very deeply, oh god, I still cannot get the slicing sound out of my head. Once Michael is dead, Laurie, Allison and the whole town strap Michael's dead body onto Laurie's car, where they take Michael to the junkyard. Now, I do actually really like this scene. It was very dramatic. It was filmed in a very epic fashion. You even had some of the victims who had survived, including the little boy who was being babysat in Halloween 2018. They then put Michael into a car crusher, and he is literally mangled and crushed and splattered to death like a squashed pumpkin. Michael is not coming back from that one. Now, even though I do like the whole build-up of this scene and whether when they will go into this junkyard, the initial moment when Michael is put in the blender was a little bit underwhelming for me. I mean, he literally went straight in and that was it. I kind of feel that very moment could have lasted a little bit longer, but that's just me. What would have been a brilliant twist is if Michael had actually woken up as he's going in the blender, and then he grabs Laurie and pulls her into the blender with him. Now, how shocking and fucked up would that have been? This leads me onto the actual ending, and I do feel that this movie ended a little bit too much on a happy note for my liking for a Halloween film. Allison goes off, and I think she's off doing some traveling, and Laurie finishes writing her book, and then she finally gets her romance ending with Hawkins, and then the titles roll. Now, I really would have preferred the final scene of the movie to be just Michael getting blended, with the final moment maybe ending on Laurie's face. I feel that we didn't need all the happy stuff after that. I mean, for me, this is a Halloween movie at the end of the day. Some people may have liked it, but for me personally, I didn't like the happy stuff. Another reason why I think fans are going to be pissed off in this movie is the lack of Michael. He really doesn't make his entry into the movie until around 40 minutes into the movie, and even then, it's just one particular scene. The first 40 minutes is literally just story build-up, which isn't a bad thing. I enjoyed parts of it. Most of the kills are done by Corey, not Michael, in this movie. And on one more final negative note, I don't understand why Corey was killed off. This whole movie shows everything that Corey goes through and his whole transition, only for him to die. It felt a little bit wasted. Now, despite the mixed points that I've aired in this review video, I did really enjoy the movie. When it really gets going, they smash it out of the park, and there are moments in this movie where, I do wish that they'd done it maybe slightly differently. Of course, we can say that about any movie in hindsight, but at the end of the day, this movie did satisfy me. Now, I know it's not going to satisfy everyone. Final films and trilogies rarely do, but I do feel that this is a Halloween movie that's probably going to divide fans even more than Halloween Kills. I think with Halloween Kills being so full on and action-packed from start to finish, to then moving on to this movie where not a lot of, action-packed stuff happens for the first 45-50 minutes, I can see why people are going to feel a little bit deflated by this movie, seeing as it's supposed to be the final Halloween. I totally get that, but I was actually okay with the storytelling for part of this movie. I just wish that they had died down on maybe the romance part between Corey and Allison, and I totally wish that they had not filmed that scene of Corey wrestling with Michael and then winning. For me, I think that is the biggest thing that pissed me off, and it keeps popping in my head every day. I'm like, why did they film that scene? Anyway, that is all of my thoughts. Now, I would really be interested to hear some of your thoughts. I know this film is literally divided fans over the weekend, so guys, don't hold back on your comments. Let me know what you genuinely think of this movie. There's no wrong or right answers here. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and like I said, I would be really interested to hear your views. Okay then guys, well, thank you all for stopping by today. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very soon.